Hello, Team Steam. It's the day, the first day of our Natural Disasters Virtual Science Fair presentations. Of course, we all know these presentations are a little unusual because in an ideal world, in a normal world, we would have had our big, exciting science fair on May 11th. So not only are we running a little behind on this, but we're doing it very differently, and I admit, not quite as exciting, but I am excited to see what you've learned about these crazy natural disasters and about all those other interesting things that happen in nature, those forces of nature. So this morning I'd like to do just an introduction to how you might get yourself ready to present. First of all, I am going to be sharing your slides for you on our Zoom meeting. So make sure that you share them to me, or I will share them through Google Classroom, but it might not work quite the same. I may not be able to do it in presentation mode. That's okay, we'll still see what you've done and the hard work that you've put in. So first of all, we want to make sure that when we are presenting our slides and what we've learned, we put it in our own words, and then we don't read the slides off to our classmates. Unless you're making a quote or you're sharing something that you're especially proud of that you learned, then you may want to read it off. Okay? So I would like to pretend to present my completed Natural Disasters Virtual Science Fair to you. So I'm going to do that right now. So here we go, and scene. Hi guys, today I'm really excited to tell you all about what I have learned about the crazy natural disaster of droughts. What is a drought? A drought is a period of dry weather, especially a long one that is harmful to crops and affects people and the environment. As you can see, I have provided some photos and some clip art pieces that illustrate what drought really does. Just look how dry this land is. This guy's walking on it, checking it out, and I can only imagine that he's thinking about how wasted that land is right now without water. A historic example of a drought would be back in the 1930s in Oklahoma. What happened is what they called the Oklahoma Dust Bowl. During World War I, farmers dug into the dirt of the prairie to plant crops like wheat to eat, but then there wasn't enough rain in the near future, and crops died and couldn't hold down the dirt. So since the dirt wasn't being held down, when winds picked up, it just took the dust and dirt, the strong, rich topsoil off of all of that Midwest land and spread it all the way to the East Coast. Animals died because there weren't crops to feed them. Families forced to move away because they didn't have any work. And businesses closed down because they didn't have farmers to come and buy from them to support them. Many people moved as far away as California and Washington State. What causes a drought? Well, a drought simply is caused by a lack of water. It could be because there's not enough rain or not enough snowfall in the mountains to make a snowpack that runs off into the rivers and streams in the spring when it melts. And it can also be from us humans using too much water. Too much land being used for cities or the same crops can leave less area for water to be stored, and then it dries it out. How does it affect people and the environment? Well, people need water to survive, obviously, as do plants and animals. Our blood has a lot of water in it, and we need it to carry oxygen, so people need water. And then water in our lymph system helps us fight sickness and helps us stay healthy. So when drought happens, if people don't get enough water, they could actually die or get very sick. The environment is affected because crops and plants are harmed by drought. They really desperately need water to survive. And drought can also lead to desertification, which means that an area becomes a desert. Soil can erode when there's a lack of water and plant life in it, and erosion causes soil to blow away or wash away. Animals need both water from natural sources and from the food and the plants they eat in order to grow and survive. Remember, everything's a circle of life, so plants depend on animals and animals depend on plants. 3 ways that people can prepare for any natural disaster. First of all, they can have a safety plan prepared and practice with their family. They need to know where to meet if there's a disaster and also what an emergency escape plan is. Secondly, always keep a well-stocked first aid kit as well as scissors and flashlights and bandages, bottled water on hand. And third, know where your home's water and gas shutoff valves are located in case of things like earthquake especially, so that you can turn those off so that there's not a second disaster if a natural disaster occurs. And finally, to summarize, Drought is a natural disaster that can make life difficult for people and the environment. You can see by this picture here that land is very dry. This tree is barely hanging on. We can also save water to help prevent drought. So that means little things like turning off the water when we're brushing our teeth and conserving things on our showers and toilets to save in water. Using drought-tolerant plants in our gardens too can be helpful. I looked at a variety of sources when I was doing my report. These 6 websites were really valuable. I also did the bonus slide of comparing and contrasting the California drought to the Oklahoma drought. I won't go through that with you right now, but you'll see that there are some similarities and there are many differences as well. I hope that you learned as much about drought as I did when I was researching, and thank you for being such a good audience. All right, guys, and scene. And so that is my quick example of really about a 3.5-minute presentation, and I practiced doing it before I did it for you. So you can practice looking through your slides. You can read them if you want, but I suggest that you just tell it in your own words. We want to hear what you learned and what you think. You don't have to go through all of your slides. An option is just to share 2 or 3 of the things that you most learned about, okay? Specifically, a historic example, the definition of what your natural disaster is, as well as the causes and the effects. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day finishing up and practicing your presentations, and I will see you this afternoon and tomorrow.